Yamwa hamu akwa badoba Adom TV Premotobre Kasee so kwada wie nsem asie na braso say de bro sa Adom TV Kasee wie nsem ne do so de todwa wo mu a obetini mampani de asofo abedi akire edine no kɔ parliament se wonje na wombobo ho so ye de mu nsem beba ene Accra High Court nso ama Akuapem Polo bill na ehon keka ye nso wobete wo Kasee ni mu chairman a ukɔ Roads and Transport Committee or mashabeje fi odano no osese de dipa efiri mu won kwanhia mu no ehun hia eyade anka ebetimi aboye ho ba efiri ho no ene nsem bi ene wie mede bro sa Adom TV Premotobre Kasee ko Facebook/Adom TV Kasee no wo ho Go TV 176 DSTV 280 hojina nsam no yedi gu ho midin afia amankwa tamaklo yada asese waje bresha Adom TV Premotobre Kasee afa nsam ni chiremu ankasa ene Ghana yamampani adodankwa akufuado ede aswafo abedi akire dine no akọ ma speaker se wonje na fei womo enkobobo hu na yenhunu ne a ebetumi akro na edin no ohwe se de wo hanom yi a na chese finance no mame abna osei asaro yemra shebedwani na fei John Mponchia kuma enso ho trade and industry so yabo nana dokua esiamba jeyi Edi Michael Chirbefi ewom na fe Herbert Krampa enso wo ho in ye energy so yabo owura Mohammed Amin Adam Din William Oreku Edu ewom na fe Andrew Ejapa Mesa enso ewom local government and decentralization rural development enso ye owura Augustine Collins in team owura Osebonsu Amua na fe Martin Ejemensa Kosa foreign affairs and regional integration so Thomas Mbomba and afe kwaku amprachum sapon what about office of attorney general and ministry of justice and so Alfred Tua Yeboa Diana Asunaba Dapa wamusudin no health and so yet na gift mensa Mahama Asai Seni lands and natural resources so Benito Owusu Bio and afe George Mreku Duka roads and highways and so Mavis and Kansambu do 7 Bumpy Jalula Afe Odeba transport and so Hassan Tampoli and Afe Frederick Oben Adom defense Yokofia Mankwa menu interior and so ye nana a year kwansa or the core communications name digitization so Amo Poma Boating works and housing Abdullahi Abanga fisheries in aquaculture and so Moses Nim and Afe railway development and so Yakwaku Asante Boating or the bus sanitation and water resources and so Amidu Ishaku Chinia or no tourism ne arts and culture and so ya mark okreku mante ya yediem gender children and social protection so Lariba Zuera Abudu or employment in labor relations so ya bright Rekumbobe information so ya Fatima to Abubakar and afa youth and sports and so ya Bo Evans so poku bobie awo ye miankasa me MP no ntino na chese aswafo no a abedi akira mampani abo wono mo edin se enko parliament na committee no toto wono mo ase na afi yenhwe emfa dibia no ma wo mo ene ho nsem Premotobre Kasee na oguso a utie wa Adom TV me ento aso ne mbonwura eye ensem foforo mu mampani adodankwa akufuado do soso abon ne form ama Court of Appeal Complex ya yesie ede ama mranimfo ene afa bebia wono ebetena no ede ho niema nyina so aguna kwan mu akoso ewo Kumase na dwumadie no ekoso no Chief Justice mampani otumfo ne mpanifo ahodo bi ko bia Adom TV Kasee etwaso
Mampani nana adodankwa akufuado akotwa homemu ewo Kumase biaye bia wo si Court of Appeal atnaye ene biaye a eye agegefo yi ebededa na sadwumadie otemuafo panyi eni yeboa ekobi ena afi asantehene otumfo osetutu na Ghana mampani etwa homemu eno de ensembi etudwa se woba Ghana hanoma Court of Appeal edan a ewo Ghana nyinano eye ba akopa eno nso ewo Ghana hinkro enkramantem ne senti hia ene behia se Kumase nso otimedi bi kɔ honom se de ya atimuafo adwuma a woye ewo Ghana hanom wo nso eho ebetimi ahenha wo.
I must at the outset express the appreciation and gratitude of the government and the people of Ghana to the Asantehene and Asante Mine for their immense support for this project. The land on which the Court of Appeal is to be cited has been provided free of charge by Otumfuo, and our nation is grateful to him. It's grateful to him for this generous gesture. The efforts of Chief Justice Anin Yabua and those of the Judicial Service must also be commended. The amount of work they have done in nurturing this project from its inception is what has paved the way for this sword-cutting ceremony.
Na saa edan a mpanyimfo de abosome nwotwe na ato sesa wade ebewie se wotimi wie a ene na wana wade won court nsem efri upper west upper east afi savannah etifi epoye mantem do etifi mantem do bono ene bono epoye mantem do ahafo ene atoye etifi mantem do ne wana wade wana sem ebefri asante mantem nyina no court ebetimi atena asem ne so ebua no ententem
me anto aso na Accra High Court nso ama ho kwan se Roxmond Brown dodo nanim no akuapim polo no yemani bill bra yetwa sika 80,000 Ghana cedis atono so with 2 surety. Adom TV Kasee etwa so.
Ene Accra High Court ama akuapim polo bill otemuafo a otena asem yiso ye friend Ruby Ayiti na ne lawyer baako a otena asem nim ema omu ginemu edema akuapim polo lawyer John Kwame Kwasin ewo me ha menene twetwe nkomo lawyer mo akwa ba de Adom TV
ya mejo so many
enne mo call court asitene Accra High Court ama akuapim polo bill 80,000 Ghana cedis any DMBM ne kan
okay 80,000 mpo de am say wa wugina ya kase bestani mana I'm sure say what do car na wo fie ba yewe ba wo yesen crofo miensa aha anti miensa no so no I mean polo nim crofo bebre enti court ha ya no miensa no kra wenya dadada enti na nyame ya adoma by afternoon no and maybe close of the day aka nkrata sama ombeye o court wo no na eja wa kofi no wa kwako ho ne ba no
ema ben na judge Ruby Ayiti ehweye anamodi tu nenim ti a ma akuapim polo bill
oh na judge na say we reading niam a ya tworo de ama no no nti hia say ye bekasa bebre nti nya ye de tu nenim say ya tworo krata so dada oho na number 1 or a first time offender oni boni bia say wakoye robbery we ko wie obi ade ana say wa committing murder na anything ya wonu owi ase obi amfani mma court da ayi get inteno ya plus nti wo ho na yemfa wo nko police station da wo ho yemfa wo nko court on criminal charges da ya say wo da wonyame ase because I know say wo ho so do you get it ya share court records na polo enye criminal we bia wo be bia da ana ne de no so ayede aba no enhyeda nye one of the mainstream bonina uko dia chenchina yemfa wonko efiade are you getting it and abio so no your man bail ono no your man bail that o ya trial no de bia no report ne lawyer amba police phone number ono kwa oba court
90 days na de man no mo ya pi ebeye djuma anase mo be nden
no sisi 90 days so den yo ye de ato baby ahanti afi ne ye be hwehwem api na ntrasia na se ye be hwehwem se 90 days na ye de ama no no ne kwan so ana nya ne kwan so o de ase ahanti se court ne tena so no hu se okay na nya ne kwan so a na na ya boni na egu ba se ne kwan so a embra no be ma na asan akọ serve
ne ye hu akuapim polo wa ha ye hu ne ba no so wa ha de ntina ma akuapim polo amepi
eno ne first case I refer o court no so sit at 9 a.m. so we follow criminal cases baby I have police for no omun time for omun mantem na yentumi nka se yemfa amon ba yenti so yentwen mo ansana case no ya continue
Senye nyame ene di oba besiriwa bi ho afofia kasabre de woto na nanom nsie do mame a wanya mfie de osia enum Amina Mahama ena emmabunu bi susu se woye baifo nti nko mo bro na wiewie no kra hye no na se na sekura nya to awie sansem ne to so Adom TV Kasee edeba
mma amina ejapade bi te se ne fie ene ne bayre betim bese empemdu ene ne bi ekeka ho ene omanfo yi ehye no e wo fie wabra maame edwane epre ne nkwa saare wosemi esi ebenada anopa bese nondu ebra Adom Kasee ama ne boni Eliasu ene maame yiba Abdurrahim Tahidu ekasa ene odi tu dwasa semnisi ye no akwakoba posifo amane na ne maame ene mrantie mienu bi enya kasakasa e wo kuru ne so na de eche yepe ena edua bi ebuto mrantie ne mu baako ema ne to anananom ensie do okire mu se bra abrantie yi wuwie ye ene abrantie ne busuafo ebo mma amina sobo se wono ene ye bayifo a wakum omba be mai ne senti abusua yi ene emabunu bi a wonom ewo kuru ne so eka won ho bo ano a wonom ebeto hye amina mahama ewo ne fie a ewo nakpali na obi ene koyi na sutire ema ne timi edwane Ibrahim kire mu se sesei se dia posifo esidi asem no no eyade ha ne ye pa ne senti wode to mpanimfo anim se womoa na atentere ne ene di ema ne maame ehun to no.
This morning on the ward that I had a countless of call on my phone. So I was busy attending to patients. So in which I stopped and I picked up the phone, and that was my senior sister. So she told me that my mom was being accused of witchcraft, and which of the Dai family, together with some of the community members, has mobilized to kill my mom. For God being our side, I think my mom saw them when they were coming. So she ran to the next house. So they burned down the house together with the food stuff and then some huge amount of money. Everything was burned together with 10,000 tubers of yam. Maize, that was 50 bags, and then the huge amount of money because she was a trader. Like I'm speaking to you now, I am not happy with how the situation going on, how the chief handled the situation. Police too, because I expect that my mom deserves justice. And justice should be done.
Jamtani ya wati Jam Dema Roads and Transport Committee ye wom rahye be fie ye ora Kennedy osan nyakon ena wakasa fa sade nipa nam enkwanhia so eto na nanom ansia do no enye ne kwan so ano no eye niema bi a sie nyina ye hwe ye hu yi a anka nkwanhia ebetumi abrase nenso enne enipa wu nkwanhia mu dodo asin bibia ewo man Ghana emo ne ya make say transport operators no ene mperifo ahodo ahia adwendwen kwan ye befa so na kan kwanhia ebebrase ene ode nsemi etudwa.
If almost 2,000, we recorded 2,583 deaths involving 15,000 plus road crashes. Out of the 15,000, we recorded 2,583 deaths. 70% of this death can be attributed to these three causes. That how do you deal with it? In terms of I have always made my position that we can deal with this issue of accident in three broad areas. One is how the enforcement agencies should make sure they enforce the law to the letter, irrespective of whoever is being caught by the law. Because if we have made laws, you have the road traffic regulation laws here act in this country, and there are regulations that we've passed, LI 2180. But people don't respect those laws that we've made for ourselves. So enforcement is very key. Two is investment in technology, because now police, I'm even sure when I travel, even if you go to South Africa, in some of the African countries here, you don't see police people standing in some obscure areas. Their motive is not to just prevent people who maybe may carelessly be misbehaving on the road, but just apprehend them and maybe, so I will just pause here and we'll watch. They will come back.
Sansam ya panidia to jai make us say shemudie koso was stakeholders no ene drivers operators no anase ashan no transport operators no ntem ye ka say adaka briefing pombanso kasa edema VIP ene wo so sesi a wo kasa enkotie bi mra.
since 2012, one particular company, possibly imagining what could be happening in that sector, invested in that sector. So if we are talking about salvaging or recovering or towing vehicles, who has them? It is the smart investor who thought, let me invest in that sector. Who imagined we could have COVID? Nobody imagined it. Incidentally, that company that benefited more from this COVID is the company that we talk Bola. Now that company has benefited from the COVID that we had. So it was smart thinking. So in this sector, nobody should be discouraged from investing in that sector. All Ghanaian companies, because I do not know of any law that says that you cannot invest in that sector, except that nobody has invested in that sector. So the fact of one person having or one company having invested in that sector should not stop us from having to rely on the specific regulations that are in LI 2180. That says that if you leave your car in the city within, say, an hour, you should move it out from the road. If you do not do so and there's an accident and the accident is traced to your vehicle as being the cause, you are then penalized. Then you break down on the highway and within 4 hours, you do not move your vehicle. It is there. It is in the rule. So when the chairman is talking about enforcement of the rule, yes, we should enforce it. When we tend to enforce it, because if you do not move the vehicle and it is being moved and now you are being asked to pay, say, 3,000 cedis, you are complaining. But during the days of the mandatory towing levy, we allowed private vehicle users who usually ply in the cities to drop the voices of the commercial operators who are on the highways. It was the highway, so we didn't make the distinction between a highway and a city, a densely populated area. And the commercial vehicle's voice and that of the private vehicle's voice. So this is the time that commercial vehicle operators should be in the position, as canvassed by the STC man, that stakeholders should be prepared to pay part of it. Let's make our voices clear, because we send our drivers on the highways, and the menace is so much on the highways because they would encounter these challenges, these difficulties. So I would employ other stakeholders for us all to look to taking decisions, be it concrete, that will protect our driver's mate, and our passengers ultimately. And if it involves having to put something in the pool that reduces the cost of the work, let's do it and pay 80 cedis a month rather than 80 cedis a year, rather than having to wait and pay 3,000 cedis per an incident. If you have frequency of running your operations, you will see that at the end of the year, you would have paid over and above what you would have paid if you were paying 80 cedis a month, a year. I rest my case. Thank you.
Yaguswa ya waka kobadi mo and samnin kwanshia ACC damte tombia wo new plan station make say se odrobani yeso obre e kan ho bidin kwanshia e banom ne ade no damte ene ahyankafo no bi gina wiano yase boebo ho na nya bete damte somna yento aso
if you made say masom send ye hu o parliament no se mpanifo ahia o ka aye road ho asem no ene mama so be pie mu e wo new plan. Say and Midday card no ye share wrongful overtaking. Ye share the courses in there, ye share a fatigue. And then import driver. A ban send no sika chi no driver order. And then this and down no eba. No driver for the high. Yes, and so ye be new mobedi and home common. Ye share at the port here. And then in Daneba. I mean, Sabrina company back. Company Chebemi. More about Adom TV so.
Major Moso.
You're from say.
Me pato from Tamimu.
Okay, yeah, show for now. I ain't funny for now driver.
Oh, normally there's say me drive Asavenkese nkwa.
Okay.
Asavenkese to Accra.
Okay, yes, question here tia. I dey enda eba a driver for den be mu drive o modam.
No kra wo mu ne se sebe car de makan bi ache bebre. Si ye kase driver da. Driver nse da enasa. Obre keke. Na
brand no dey na dey sa brand eba.
Obre ne ohye. se me ka se ohye a ase sebi ye mu binom kawurafo ehye omo so Midday no kra me kawura nhye ne so esa se sesi na dakas no so no esosoma driver fo no daba bia so sebi wa piefie se okopesika abehwe na yire eni na busua ne mo kawura no so hu se ono odi loan na tokoto ka no nti osesea na se ensiso a no the how pressure no the two drivers so drivers wo be pese adwuma no emfiri wonsa wo be na pedi ama no nti hwi no eno no de obre ne ba gwani be ba ho so ana yesi wada wati afiri kwa no so nti eno ane ye hawa nti ye besre aban ne se ebeyi ya enka loans na ewo banks no omtete so ma maza yetu abei menya politics wa ha yetu abei yatu fuel mu beyem prenum efe mum na kewurafo ni bi e de pressure to adraba for so omuntu sesi no meanwhile lot of yen tu mu nti e besere mu media no na mu bitumi aboaye because on my way see e de ne to aban yesi legislator e na hwan so a enkoye nti di mu media no mu bam na mu boaye na kwansu jojo no yetumi e de ayadwuma
yo yeda say yeguse o new plan station ne adaba fo nidi nkomo opani me gidi say what topic ne ya yedu nkomo kakra e dey na officer dey say enda no eba
yo me pacho ye frame smart me drive kedi to Accra na dey by especially for loan cars ka una fo no bebre akwakoji loan e dey atọ me ka una dey me ka to ha bia na me boa on ha me na emom no ka una ze bia akwakoji loan a mo dey o hye ato adaba for so a week 12 million 30 million, 40 million. I had said Dabanino, Obinya. By Queen Biasono, or so they call one a better can, didn't also way. And see, I do 12 o'clock runner or driver. And the minimum there, the Mimi Gidi said, the mad day and Nabi Brebano, I or bread and wash. And I must have the engine at the bar. And your best account for the Yapomacho, Sekabaya, and Casalo no Mogogeno, and the Casino or Motono. So for the also, and Godilon Toka. Never share my 2 revenues of Marco Asia AC. And the member Jim dear, a loan at Kauna for the Quageno, and a ma sa or share that ever for so a day accident in this animal and your politics. Nimum a no cranny eka. Mimika idea, Mikato have another or have a back of cry. Nimum Kauna for bidum. And I must accident and this animal in Eba. And Nadia, and Nadia the moon is a your bread. Or bridgina ejina homa or sha account at the best to have an issue say for 40 million for 10 million for Webla. That was to say obedidi. And also force the call and then on the BD. And the message account for us who make out idea. Make out to have another boy or have it.
Yeah, that's happening. Also, Chawajin Kakra. Union Mabu issues in the more to steer chair more down. Also, then in a mammoth to steer chair more down. No correct, Bebre, and a million Udikayaka. Bebre, loon, Yempin, drive, Kawana wouldn't be quite a the talkers, my driver for. I said, drive any Yakwaji, loon, I talk a man. Current person will be 300 Ghana cedi, 250 Ghana cedi a day. Drive known to me. Into Bioha Ofia could do Kumasi. What could do Kumasi or Bassian Bakra? Obedua or some person of Bassambay Trotto at the same time. Sandy Panwabre or Bada. Because of Kano, Wabren also the Canisian or the Sua currency, Major Meka. Even your car will be or cry, drive an Abrena, or Basanka Kano Homeno, or Sina Unio being Femano. Obi also a person called Asori Sunday or person rest Sunday. Karen Unio being Femano. It's at the same time, Ama drive on your bread into your back, a better sanka, bino, only before only Omoa, a talkers and Casa, said a beya and combat boy a drive for no, non come with tea and so ya how, and campaign for them, don't be how. Ye and Jumano, Yanya beye. And you are young to me, Cassia before so young. Yabra, Nanka Yahome, Nanka Yasu be beer, one. Wabra now this one car, Regeneca. Also on Quarani, Ufi, and Ma Ufi, or how will be dying in your baby, which you have all grassy or more say, Baba Wafi. Oh, which is to me, in Gaza also the pressure, Nabako. And yeah, how can see it? Yes, Rabbi is on boy. I draw for it. Chama, my member also, my member also now, who acquire Muchay. When you are not in Cabo Boss, we say, aya because of pressure ntia na yebusa say ekwan no so no aya muni baby a moda na aya se wa so pese wani kum na pese oju ahome kakra na wa bre na pese oju ahome kakra oda na
oh there be ekwan ni baby a yeda ye ni baby a yedu ho a ye beka se bi a ye park ana se ye park ne yada me gina ha me no ka say me rane asama tukuma ase me rane asama to akra but most nyane bebre ametumi aka fa ne yakwan ni nye
ene ne pese ye hwe adentina still mo bra mo njima home na still am pese mo drive e den na de sa bra ne ba
bebre su gina pressure na me nua no mo di kan ye no se kauna obi gina obi ho a e bia week no be 12 million e bi be 14 million e do se bia Friday na 14 million na wanya ni ti no nya se oku ne hu no ye adwuma anadwo kra obetumi akoma se ni ha koma se kra anadwo na obekọ so obekọ oba nyina na ni kum so ase ofo so bedu na ochina no ade chi Saturday no sa kono nya sa 14 million no e breka ewura se wanya sa ska na amade a ane ka ewura no obeji ni ka oso no so na ja no de eyi kakra de hwe ne yere ne ma wofi okay ntiye ntumi nka se bia otumi nka se bia wo pe kwase da adwuma na ye no bebre gina ye adwuma ka wona so because why ye adwuma no week na du wanya wo 6 it has a Sunday no we adwuma ye den e di shame no di 6 na den koma ka wona no onim se wankwa na se wonko ono de ogi ni fort e bi kra e bi ye mu bi kra bobusia e di so ye 6 so asan de akoma ka ewura wan ye obeji ka no so ni wo yere wo ma de na obedi ti ase wo force ase kwa kopa busia e ka se wo ye yere no mo ye adwuma kakra no ni age ye yere no sika na e di asoso ye je yere no sika na e di asoso ma ye yere bi obebre ye bebre ye kra adwuma asai
okay yo ye da se no nim ye nko ni baba eja me jiri say one our station master okay we nko for na raise a lot of issues say almost cowness no more pressure more and then office say yeah sa fatigue here by the bad drivers for so esu betwa and then office say yeah solution man
the GPR2 your lord will say utoka pe ese uba na utoka na pe ese uba na udiba station bia na wa bisa station masawan na wa balance wa be register car no se bebre o mu register o mu car wa fonu doso enu kan wa fonu na ma pressure no kra ba ye dwuma mu first na ntesa asama me no kan se ye ka pressure loan doso loan enya se ye ma no ye france ye ma no we campaign enya we campaign obi na di ni sika koto na di sika ni bia to so e dere to so no and then to we 2 currency 2 million enya sika keto sa ezo ye no ye wa na ye adwuma no ye driver for na dada for na for ye mpene ye ka wo 2020 otimi ye 1.7 1.8 ezo 2 million eni ye stage pressure and ama tempia ye driver for hasn't so pressure okay and down and go
okay you know ni shishem no susu say omo me wa no come bra station o me join
we your parents say station no mo ba join ye o join na wa o me car fe o da join no ani 2020 we da kan te and ye toma ye be ton pepe e de am obi enti de wo no to mo bra station na bibia nko kan
pressure ene wo be kun hu na ka de na wo pe
oh me bibia me gina me station mas me pressure oh you nim say anything to me hasn't to me ba as hasn't to me ba we no what defend nipa as pressure wa me ka bibia sunje no untimi kaka wo yiri gro tete wo vie gro untimi kaka wo yiri wa tete wo vie gro untimi kaka na kana ye enti de wo no
ye da se yo ene ahana ye di besi ye mra ni ti ye mra na ye baba no akasa ye mra na ye be ye fansia na muso mo studio ye ne driver no aye den edi nkomo ye guso a ye nya nwie ye ne ye first ye di series na ba first ye di awie o kira nya me ye adoma ye beto aso Midday de dam tito bia high new plan station circle
era se papa Adom tito bia droba for won sembebre wo makoma manwumre dam te de be ka kire so o de bebre yugusoa ye wo ahyenkan mu ensa medwedefo Emmanuel wo Brim South mensini mu wo poye mantem mu sre sanka be ya ban enhwe na edwa kese na wo wosa no wonya lorry park wo ho fi se omanfo badware mu bedidwa then so baby omo be park wo no mo asen ne yeyi nneoma film num ne ade wo mu ni binti amadwa no enkoso de bia no mo te wo to so sa wade se de wo de Adom TV Kasee so
Edwadifo yi echiremu a esanse edwanemu esonti enyade a omanfo eba honom ebeto waade na yenam so ama wonom adwuma wodie no enkoso enokran so da nchen ya data hodo a wonom aye wodwanemu nyina wanye ne ye ne senti nsuo to a na nsuo yiri de afa wonema ewo edwanemu ahobonbon so enni edwanemu senti ohia security man bi a wonom ebetimi ambo wonema eho ban wabra wapon ekofie
enne ya market day wo kuro yim ha aye didwa nipa mekuro mu edwamu medidwa ahoho na so eba no omu di complain ba so omu ba omu nya kanfo enti ye mo station na omu ka ba abegina enti ye de koto mpanifo anim na omu ye so mbema ye station ba pem nne ya hwe anim a station no emma nsuo ta ye da ni mu nyina ejiri store se wa ha nyina nsuo kom ya ba agisi ye yi ye ne ma ni nyina egu abonten enti ye so omu mehwe gwata no no omunya gwata ni ye maye krodo lolo kwala ni ekose kokom ho na obi ehu se dwa ha ti esra mo se mmadwa ne mna station nto aso ha maye ye so emoaye se be nkrasifo betumi aba
enuachi ena eragin amo awo no ena ye ohima wodwamu wo editu dwa se enyade a wonom ebekọ edwafoforo bia mu esanse bia wo no enu wokromu a eho ena beboa wo no mu esenti ebe ya nkampanimfo entwa wani emehye wo no mu
asefo no de nuane ba ka no no wo di firi kumase ani ade nyina ba aho no be yie enti wo me yi niema no nyina enyu ho na fa akode first ko mo ye se ye station edwa ho anya yie no wo mo fa ho no ko ye main station na wo kire ha ya na jade edaka akwa ho edekurom anunti no o me ye enfama ye na ye muye no ni ahoho nkurasefo nyina enhia na wono mo ani ahemfo no enka na nkurasefo no de wo niema ba na wo be yi agu ha won kai ni be yugu wi a na ede wono mo comment station eye akire ha sei no
abaya na musini obrim south mensini mu ene asare down so oni Adom Kasee twetwe nkomo editu dwa se mpanimfo edi hyehyeye egu akwa mu ahwese ohawo adwadifo yi ewo obetimi aso ano edi ama wo no mu
enche kra ye behwe ne ho tetuye na se move market man so akoho na ya hwese betimi ebubu ho kakra ne station I mean ye brewe ni so epese ye so far make I say straight through this capital hadie Juma kosu ye pa
Premotobre Kasee na ogusa wo hwa Adom TV so twen mesesi na mentonkra wemra beba ebeto aso Eda sesa wo twen me Adom TV Premotobre Kasee so na oguso hwe no Facebook/Adom TV Kasee no ho afa yen to ansam no so biemu adehia wo mute emiamia hodo ayitu efam agudie se na adwuma yi abo wo mu se ya sesram fi se won kro no mu ne yetu fam agudie no nanso eba se ye pa adwuma yefo a ne akofa ahoho nti we de wo mo sre titru pa no ekọ wo tra no gold mining firm fo no krom ho fo sre sempanifo ye no wo fa nipa won fa krom ho fo bi
Wa wote ben Chirano Gold Mines ya Subri Akoti Paboase Chirano ene enkura foforo bi eka ho no e de adesrede ato adwumaku ye animu se sebasa wonom penkrofo woni wonom ebeye adwuma won fa wonom gitumu se adwumaku yi afa enipa bebra wonom etesa nkura hodo emu nyina nanso wonom kiremu a enam dodo nsen nkwan enu nti na wonom ede sa adesrede atodwen wonom eka sisudua se enye se wonom pese wo kire se adwumayefo a adwumaku ni wonom eye adwuma dada no wonom empam wo modie na mmum ne wonom eka ne se sebase ekwan ba beda adwuma mu ho na se wo pese wo fo obi a ema wonom enko nkura foforo mu na mmum wonom a woti ho na no wonfa wonom ne wone won enya adwuma ye ne nyinam no wogidi se ebeboa amempum tu abakrom ho no
ye kan say abrofo say Oliver Twist asks for more mines no sa kwanya beda ho no e be stress yes yufo no so no yeso ye bi eden eyiyi se ne ahoho ye bi yeso ye bi yi nti yesro mo se omo nso edu sa me no omo twa omo ni hwe timamofo sa se ye asase no mo ye de omo ase no ba bi aka ye nana no bedidi no ho no mo ase no ye stress ye nye traba yi nti ne wo ha se ne be stress Oliver Twist ye de stress mines no e ma yesa kwanya no emra kwanya beda ho na ye nso ye nya adwuma ni bi nye na ma yenso yen fa yentama pese ne be ya dan kwama no ye manso mo yachi se ye nananom ne de yen sa ma mining company nanso yenya bibi anya den amfiri mu
ye mo aye ne mo kasa ye na ye catchment area ho ye na ye te ben mans na ye nim ne ye air course ho and adwuma na ɛwɔ no so yɛnka sɛ ma yɛmfa sahwifo sɛ akwanya bɛda hɔ na nipa ne qualify sɛ nipa ne yɛ sahwini o ɔyɛ hwan o ɛsɛ yɛde saa position yɛ dɛ ɛma nipa no fine ɛna kyɛ no goldman so hɔ yi so no ɔmo yɛ company na ɔmo aboa catchment area ne papaapa na employment ne ɔmo bɛfa nipa a yɛnsi ɔmo kwan but as to say yɛnyi obi mfiri hɔ na yɛmfa obi mɛhyɛ hɔ ne deɛ menua yɛne ɔmo nya adwen saa.
Introbuman Senior High School on Kwanta South oti mantam nemo omu hia moa den de aboma school ya kono wo kwa wani je ho na adisuan so ye de no wo to mu seriousness sam konwa wo mu ni de wo de kira de ano bibia nhyɛ de ni hosa wo de wade sere to dwasa ban emu
for a teacher for any a school for Introbuman Senior High School ewo Enkwanta South o utimantemu ades ready our day to Ghana ban nim afi ankrenkre ene obi bia robetimi aba wo moa enim ne se ada wo ba ho no ma suku aka de sese wo hia no woni bi esenti omanfo emeye ommoa enema hodo suku yi eni bi eye bia ye suku fo betena asua de bia ya suku fo yi ebeda won dining hall na afi enso kro betimi edi bi adware anom bi nso no woni bi ewo ho no ma aye asef mo efri se obesi suku dan eye afi apem ahankron ene adwokno miensa no aban anase obi biara ema dan ho se obeye nsiesie adwuma bi a ho enam we so ena ama suku yi de esisi ada atete apansama suku fo ene teacher fo ewom ede won ades rede eto omanfo ene aban anim se womra wansra ban mu Benjamin Bakata ena wo ye ochwetwe ni panyi ewo Introbuman SHS na bra Adom Kasee ene ne twetwe ensemi hu nkomoi ene me bi odan na dini
biggest challenge in the dining hall. No, if it's good you went around yourself to see things to yourself. If you take a critical look, you can see that the space is just too small to accommodate thousands and over students. So what happens here is that the students have to eat in tents. They run shift. One batch will go, then the other one will follow. And such situations affecting academic progress in the school. And then when you come to the dormitory side too, it's a big problem. Since I've taken over the administration of this school, we've written so many things, fell a lot of template concerning furniture. I've been to the headquarters myself about 4 times. They promised up to now, nothing. So we are just appealing to non-governmental organizations to come to our aid.
Patience Agbi and Oye Senior House Mistress ewo suku nimu na ononso edi insembi sei eneto Adom Kasee enim efa sedie suku yi eni akadenti amofra adesua aye bibie wo ho ewo ho no.
The beds, the dormitory, we don't have the beds, so a lot of the students are even flooring when the first years come like this. It's only the 3rd years and some of the 2nd years who get the beds. The rest of them have to be pleading with them so that they will be flooring. While the seniors are going out, then they will also be getting some spaces for some number of years now.
Yento so na mensi crash penny wo asene manso across so e wo poye mantemo Alex nkum eto den fi se penny no sa ban be bondi ama na transfer na won transfer no ekuro no mu achemienu ebi ehun se na adwuma so ani won tena so ebi mu so de enne ya sanko sore so kra nkoma ko obeto won yam Adom TV no wodi nkomo de ntia opensa
anamso ama Adom Kasee ama ne boni ekokoro no so onom ekokohwe ni ntia ensam saa ekoso no na okokoduru honom no empanyinfo bi a wonom ewo kuro ni mu asan akan sisudua se wonom de wonom mpene so Emma mensini krachi ensan Emma medi wonom kuro no so biom ebusua panyin ya wo achem across so na nakofi wusubotwi ekire ensem
ye ntia atweama yakan ho abom ehemfo yakan ho abom se empese alesinkum obebe biom ne se ehemfo ya de pasumdwe esanse ye mampanin no asumdwe na de bi okasa fa honte ehemfo ya pasumdwe pa
assembly member wo asemman so across so enso ede to yamani boni animu se sesi akora wonom ede sansem no etudwa no mensini krachi woni empanyinfo bi a wonom edan pipi amanyuku na no enkasa eno nti wonom de wo hu ne se ehu behia so mampanyin ede onipa foforo eba besi mensini krachi anem
sabi ye de tumi ni ahya wonsa as honorable member eso di sa mansin anim na sabi utimi woda bodyguard Emma ne bo planning officer, a whole planning officer, oh, masters. a ɔde ɛhwɛ assembly no anaasɛ wɔtumi aboa ma assembly no adu mpɛmpɔnso win na ɔda wo bodyguard wei ɛnyɛ sɛ ebi ase esi wɔ manim 17 December
akyem akro so hene nana kobina ofori ene nana amoa daadum ya wono nso ɛyɛ gyase hene a wo asene ɛde nsɛm bi ɛtudwa
nsɛm kitikiti bi ne sisi wɔ abatuo no mu but no so bi di ɛkyerɛ betumi ɛbɛsɛ ɔman no nti ɔman no puntuo na ɛyɛ predia me dem hwɛ adwuma wa ya na me de to MP saba ɛne DC a ho aba yɛ mpatem ha brɛ ɛhyɛ danse na yɛbɛhyɛ yɛte ho bɛyɛ AM yi a ho sɛ wadi dwuma pa nti yɛtoa no so a nka me de mani bɛgye ho
ɛm sɛ papa no bɛyɛ DC o mantem ha no district no first a year ɔyɛ no ɔno na ɔbɛsi so first na wɔyɛ dwumaden ama district no emu adwo afei nso prepare abam
MPP amanyoko maybe any assemblyman fo binom nso e de atugya se wura na aye adwumaden a enu nti ehu behia se obesan edi mansini krache e wo honom bio
mini obi anya adwen da enye no kran nso da so di mpape mo ba party nim adwuma esese wo ye boa MPP a this waye
any relationship it is by finding for 2016 no at turn elections for during election no crowd occupy the type crime and yamin kwa hwere ne nkwa after 2016 be nyina ye ne no during 2020 elections MP nam ha no so nam ha oni executive ni bi fafa na MP so ni executive ni bi fafa nje anya no creda say constituency officers ne honorable Alison Kuye DC nya fine ye ne relationship is very 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 good pa
nananum ne abusua ewo kokofu won Kranza traditional area ho kasa won Kranza South mensi ni mo ewo won mo ensase won e kroponfo no entem ne nei kokofu ababonten abekere se de kroponfo kanu bie ni ho a eye no kre Adom TV Kasee etoso
wonu mo kokofu ekire mu se nana adubuafo ya kane bi wonu na no ye omahene wo Kranza Traditional Council na de wonu masase no ema feishi amana emfie bebreni no ehwa na wonu mo kokofu de woye wonu mu kua ekosi se wonu mo hyase eye mpomtudwuma ewo so na saasase ewo kokofu yi wonu ene anokwawia ene akrafo dade ase ene asuosu ena ebohye na nanya ako ababio ene ye busua panyini a owo kokofu enchiremu se yi ena wode to yamani boni no anim
bia te se wa akropon ne ba na dwene se wo to asase amawo ewo saa bia ho eye kobeda ene timi obi saa bia ho bia obeto asase amawo bia opa akwaje usika permanent order because oto akokofufo ye beji ye firi nsem enti aframa ye ya ka central fo nyina no se nye demonstration ni kokofufo yesuro dabi na no demonstration be ye ba famra kwanso pass kra banjibi ne be fatumi hye bensem sabi market ya asase ye beji ba ka se akropon ni bia nsio so obagwa na na ye gira ka kire soro da anyina wo ye akropon nyene se yen ye bane abarimfo ye bane na so wadi koja kire dia e de free na ko mpane kwara obefa so de be kwa ahemfie no akoda ho ye ma mi toba
oba panyini a owo kokofu na na amabrenya enso e de kokobon sembi ama wono mu a owo akropon
ango sese waka kire sa me betome na nane o kire me ne so wo ba atwene din ndi na sa so wo bia wo twene din wodi wujaye aha ndi sese wo ka di me ka sa ma kire akropon hene se sa ne de one tempt ho so wa so ye ni ofuofu wono ni wono se asemba mama brenya
ban mu hene ya wo Kranza Traditional Council na nakwadwo kwa aten e de afutu ama ekropon hene ne se wono mu ma bronte na onfa chew pai mu oden emema kokofu ene ban mu ahemfu nyina
yen kanche na nane se ne oye ne dia me se eni atra na ni nton yenye ne sa futu a me de be ma ne se anye bia ekropon hene ni papa ne sa barimfo yi abarimfo ye nso no wo kan ba kwa na wa kan yina ese na tie kan wonantie na aka woto tie se nkan na kropon hene bibise kura no nsia no ya kan kura nko otua na mamba ye na so se ne awo ma yesu sie me kura me hu ni TV so na metia nse omo ye demonstration enti yesre no ne wo ye ne de ne papa no se wa mfa kwampa so enti on pa na monfoforo ntu na ye hunu ne ye beka afa ho
Chairperson ya wo Asante Achim Presbytery Reverend Dr. Anoche nkansa de afutuo ma emmebuno no se momo mpre won ho abrabom se womo pesika womo pekas ni fia kese adedem ene de obenya nanso gese obro wedie ne ye adwumadene ene so ade wonya obia na uni ha to de afutuo ene ma mmebuno
Jemtinani a oda Asante Achim Presbytery nano Reverend Dr. Anoche Nkansa ede kokobo ama mebunu se wonom empe awrade animu adom sene se obepa akwan ahodo so ede apesika entem opanyin akire mu a se de mebunu eni briska nintino wonom mfa ho se anamo a wobetuo no ebeha empotemu a wote any impo omemu ni nyina.
Friends to get money quickly say in terms of case 17 year old 20 who is scare ya dan. Who is scare ya? But me manage this kakra. Who is can ya dan. I don't want to was now training radio what the man. So enti mo mrante maba me tu wo nyina fu say. Omo suma radio. Na omo tu was nya me man ko maba no so enti na ma dwama mo sa nya na ye bebre no. Ena nko a opeso onya bibia bi. Abrafo so ntisa. Tu boase. Yehusu anwoma adwuma na husu so yehusu adwuma na nyame asiesie na wo hyiraw.
Principal Awada Agogo Women's College of Education ano Reverend Dr. Grace Ntimadasi enso de afutu ema awofo nyina se woma wani enko wo ma ho se ne be ya moda ne yo bi a enye adi a wo be hu no
wo educate wo enanom ne agyanom se no ye sori gra ho na ye ma ye ni ko ye nkwala no ene ma bebre na ye hu a enye ye ni na nse nye me de e viral wo fe abemu wa ono so de 17 wa ba deja wo fa memu wa nkitin 2 years 3 years a wa ma ode ne be ma hihye wo manu wo na ode hihye se bi wo mochi na ati se na ya na mi busa se je nan mu we hin ja no mu we hin
na nasafo akwa je itabi ene ye wahene a owodwa so ono so ede ensem bi eto asofo anim
nyema ekoso mani no kredni enye ahmeti na enunti na se asori for ni asofo omo centre no mukasa na itimi sesa nifa isuban owo oman itimi sesa nifa isuban oman friend is what the mean tell you being in presbyterian discipline nim enne ye akodu a amana ekofo na enka na obi ko presbyterian sorry na say obi ko presbyterian school a ohun na ekofo na ese etike nyamso no serious etike ni serious ni bo se benya isosoro ewo yabrabo.
Bono Regional Acting Director of the Education ano Mrs. Ivy Asantewa Owusu de to Association of Catholic Heads of Higher Institutions enim se braso se atretene ene hihya ahodo a ye de ebeko atia Catholic schools and institutions e my Ghana mu ne ye boni bi no e braso se wono mo ba no meye sa ne mani nyina na school fo no jejina na so ye Christian oforikuma etwaso
Santiwa Owusu ene Ebno Regional Acting Education Director na wadi tuja sei enkwada a wonum ewo school mu no wonum ntetiye ewo fom enu nti abeya hiade ede ama Catholic fo se wobehwe na wodi ntetiye pa ewura nkwada yi mu ewo schools ahoduo mu wadi sansemi tuja ewo abra National Association of Catholic Heads of Higher Institutions edi wonum mfie aduanan afasha etia na edaso ene ensuring holistic education for national development
Ghana yewo enidaso ema yedache into mo program idie na ye kan se eye program a eboa eye education esanse eno ho totoye eno ho adwendwen eno ho enkomo ena omo behwe ene mmoa Catholic asori no so ede eboa education.
National President Awada Sekuya no enso editu dwa se achechefo a wono mewa Catholic schools ahodo mu ewo man mu no wonom eye adwumaden ne nyina egina entitiye pa wonom nyaye ewo abra na wonom so ege entitiye ede ababe achechefo no
na program no so na buta ya atache ne se ye behwe adwuma ayaye for the past 40 years ne ya hwe se na kwan ya fa so ye no se ye hu achievement na so far ne hu areas na ye feel say ye nyanya ade wo that those areas ne hu kwan ya fa so aye hihye bia betimi aboa ama yetimi improve on those areas.
Martin Obing eneye abankrachi a owo Sunyane West na wono so ade to ekuo ya nimu se wonom enye nhihye ya ɛden teteepa ebedua adesuafoɔ mu ɛwɔ schools ahodoɔ mu.
Ghana fa na nyinaa sɛ kɔba sɛ obi epe school amane ba ya mpempin yɛ tape Roman school. Deɛ nti ɛpɛ saa ne sɛ nkyerɛkyerɛ wɔ hɔ no ɛboa yɛn ɛma deɛ kan holistic education. Akra no ne titiɛ ɛnyɛ ngomasua no nko a ne dada abrabom nyinaa no so no Roman som no ɛma saa de ne ba. Ɛno nti ɛyɛ adepa kupa batia yɛbfa so sɛ bɛnkɔ so na bi ne dwuma ɛfa mu Ghana man.
Mpanyinfoɔ nyinaa ɛkasa no akyire no ɛna Most Reverend Matthew Akwasi Jamfi ya ɔyɛ Catholic Bishop Emma Sunyane Diocese nso ɛde nsɛm bi ɛto dwa.
The means to acquire the knowledge they need in order to find a place in a society which is strongly characterized by technical and scientific skills. But at the same time, the school and Catholic head should be able, above all, to impart a solid Christian formation. For the Catholic school or Catholic school head or Catholic head to be a means of education for integral national development, we are convinced that certain fundamental characteristics need to be strengthened.
Siano yanko Facebook omanfo bi ewo hode wadwenkyere aka ho amadimo positive change Madina de tenten bi aba wo nimo hase wo dum so munsam Dr. Baba Zamo enso ebo mampani na baso wo n'adwuma wo ye ne osofo be de akira wa paw no n'adwuma eso ani ba echampon chia Ghana fo nyina na fe vida asidigbe enso de ne de aba ewo ha mankind lembele ene your birthday nti special happy birthday nko emfa emma wo ne de no kofi praman enso ewa ha owura kofi amankwa manu ene obona baso se yabo ne din se deputy minister of defense Aaron Adakwa ewa ha se emiso no so onya Adom TV no kafra ye be ye ho adwuma mo wanya King Jerry enso oh Ghana more fire na ko mensa pillar 2 osi dum so no dum so Nanado is the best president ever in Ghana. No Benny Smart and so said they should sentence Sagrada to death. Enti no yanka wa hadi and so or the Nedia Betham a door so power, but I had a Brema Quine near the senior Michelle so do dear Cassiano and made demo media fear among Quata Maclo. Crew near that senior Michelle fire for fire. Countryman Songo, et was so.